This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The very end of the Parsha, Vayomer Yaakov ka'asher ra'am machanei elokim zeh. Yaakov said when he saw them, this is the camp of God. Vayikra shem hamakim hahu, and he called the name of this place Machanoim. So in this pasuk, Rav Moshe Feinstein in Darsh Moshe says what to many may seem like a novel Hashkafa. And so first, brace yourself to hear this Hashkafa, and secondly, we have to understand why Rav Moshe writes this Hashkafa and how it's derived and hinted to in this pasuk. Says Rav Moshe that in this generation it's different than in the days of old. In the days of old, it was possible for a person to be a nistar, meaning it was considered a legitimate mahalach to hide your Torah, to hide your ma'asim tovim, to hide your tzedakah, that people could look at you and not know exactly that you're well versed in Torah, because someone could look at you and not know all about the chesed that you do. But says Rav Moshe, in our generation, we don't have the luxury to be a nistar, to be a hidden person. It says Rav Moshe, in our generation, when somebody looks at you, it should be obvious you're a shomer Torah mitzvahs, you learn Torah, you fulfill mitzvahs, and you give tzedakah and you do chesed. Why? Because in our generation, which is a dar ani, people need to learn from you. Back in yesteryear, where there were so many tzaddikim, so everybody could sort of mind their own business and hide themselves and conceal themselves, and there are plenty of people to learn from. But in our generation, it is critical, more important than hiding your ma'asim tovim, is that people should learn from your ma'asim tovim. And so therefore we no longer have the luxury of doing things b'seisar. That's what Rav Moshe writes. Now, how do we see this from the pasuk? It would seem that Rav Moshe is bothered by a kasha. It says that Yaakov said when he saw them, Machanei elokim zeh. This is the camp of God. No kidding, it's the camp of God. These are angels. What else is it? Apparently, as Rav Moshe actually writes in his previous piece, that it must be that you could see malachim and not know they're Machanei elokim. Maybe the way they appeared to Avram Avinu, where the angels came, but they came disguised as ordinary citizens. That's in the years of old. That's back in the time of Avram Avinu, perhaps. But now in the time of Yaakov, especially returning to Eretz Yisrael, and again, I'm conjecturing that this is where Rav Moshe derived it from. As Yaakov Avinu is coming back to Eretz Yisrael, which represents the Ikvus of the Mashiach, the end of days, so now we have a new practice. Avram Avinu could look at Malachim and not be able to say Machanei Elokim Zeh. But Yaakov Avinu, he looks at them and he says, it's obvious they're Machanei Elokim. From here Rav Moshe derives that in our generation it is not permitted for a person to take a Mahalach in Avodas Hashem where one hides their learning and hides their Ma'asim Tovim. We don't have the luxury to do that. One has to be sort of forthcoming in their Ma'asim so that others could learn from. And this is derived, Rav Moshe says, from the fact that when Yaakov sees the Malachim, he was able to say and decipher and see clearly, Vayomer Yaakov ka'asher ra'am machanei elokim zeh.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.